All right, right now we're going to talk a little bit about site selection. We have been from a higher altitude this morning down to a lower altitude right now. It's not the most ideal time of day. It's about 3 o'clock-ish in the afternoon. And here in about an hour or two, in maybe 3 hours, is when you're going to start seeing fish rise, and maybe you can transition from a sinking hook to a floating fly of some sort. This is also very, very early in the season, so we've got some really, really high volume rivers. So when you have early season high volume rivers, you want to select a site where the fish are going to culminate. The front of a dam, the front of a beaver dam, standing pools, those type of locations. A lot of times fish will sit right in front of a pillow of water where there's a big rock trying to catch stuff that floats down. But for the most part, they spend a lot of time in eddies. They spend this time of the afternoon underneath banks where they can be sheltered from the heat of the sun. So right now we have picked this beaver dam because everything upstream, something just popped right there. Oh, I was hoping it was a fish, but it was bubbles. Everything upstream is super raging high volume. The problem with that is you got a lot of water to fish ratio, and you don't have a lot of fish in that super high volume. They will have a tendency to get out of the high volume and get into the standing pools or in the eddies or underneath the edge of the banks. So understanding that, I'm gonna try and fish this little area for now. I'll see if I can work through here and get some catch something. And right now nothing is rising, so I'm gonna wanna use something that sinks. I've got a small fly that looks like a fish. It's a wet fly. It's something that's going to sink and mimic a fish. And I've also got my strike indicator only about 2 feet above it. So what's gonna happen is the strike indicator is gonna be at about an angle like this, and the fish is gonna sink at about 1 foot in depth. That's not a lot of depth, but it's perfect for where we're at because there's a lot of sticks and undergrowth and things that I could snag my hook on and lose my hook with. So that's just a little bit on site selection and time of day, and trying to battle the elements when it comes to finding a good place to go fishing. Now I gotta just not go for a swim. So when you're in a confined area like this, you might have a slight current that will bring your line along and give you some resistance to throw it back up. And that's what I like to call roll casting. When you're in a short area like this, I might do the traditional type of cast and hook my hook on a tree back here. So one mechanism that I can use, let me get this downstream a little more. One mechanism that I can use is once my pole floats down, or my hook floats downstream just a little bit, I can roll cast. And all that I'm doing is waiting for a resistance to be on this side, and then I'm just gonna flop it over the top. So it essentially looks something like this. I've got my cast, I flip it right up over the top. Now, once it rolls along, maybe I want to roll it to this other side. I get it to my left, and then I can roll cast over to my right. It gives me the ability to usually get around obstacles. I've hooked up there just a little bit. Yeah, that's gonna hook. See how deep this is. Yep.